we wouldn't have found out how good of a deal it was at the North 40. Because I was just gonna go to grocery outlet, North 40, and then we'd be done. But then,
So my question is, when it comes to the MKRs and our current system for keeping track of like our measurable key results, what do you see? What do you guys see are the problems that we face with whether it is being consistent, whether it's tracking them, or when or how when we report them, or what do you see are the problems that we face with the MKRs?
Sure, consistent.
I'd like to know what do you see as a problem that is creating a lack of consistency?
Sometimes it's like if I have an MKR that's specifically to what I'm focusing on now, then I sometimes do it. Or sometimes like I have to go through the meeting stuff, then like numbers are not like
Ramona is not a welcome guest.
No. That's not it. Okay, I changed my mind. I love numbers. I'm very good at numbers. I think that's what causes it.
What that you have?
Like like whatever I'm focusing on, then I'm just like I'm measuring that.
Oh, okay.
And then
Is it that it's like out of sight, out of mind, or you just like choose to focus on those?
outside out of mind.
Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. What about you, Mom? What do you see are problems that we face with the NKRs?
Well, I could talk about me.
You talk about
Okay.
people too, as a whole.
I feel like with me, what happens is, like we have a workathon, and when I show up for a workathon, I feel like when we do what's that workathon? The accounting, we do accounting, but sometimes when we do workathons, we talk and don't get the work actually done, and then that's expected afterwards. But then I feel like the whole schedule's filled, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then it's like, when do you have time to do it? And then by the time I have time to do it, I don't even do that. It's not the way it's going.
I'm talking about NPRs. I'm not really talking about you doing.
Yeah, I know, but that's how my.
Oh, because you feel you're not you're not reaching your infinite.
Yeah.
I'm talking about tracking the work that you do. I'm talking about like.
You're just talking about tracking it.
Yeah, that's what NPRs is tracking.
Yeah.
Just measurable key results. It's measuring the progress you make. Because that's like saying you don't get anything done, but that you do get a lot done. You get plenty of stuff done. But I'm asking, what do you see as a problem that causes us to not track the progress that we make? Track, report.
Oh, I know. We used to write it down somewhere. I forgot where we wrote it. Place to write it. And then, I don't know. I just don't think if I took time, like 5 minutes at the end of the workathon or when I'm working, to write it down, that would be nice, because I love when we go to a meeting, debriefing, and it's like, I did this.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do that. But since I don't do that, I don't even keep track. And by the time we get to the meeting, I've forgot what we did.
So you're saying that what makes it hard for you is not really having a time when you are going to track what you did.
Yeah, at the end of one.
Okay. I'm trying to think. That makes sense. What about you, Carl? What do you see as challenging for tracking what you do?
location.
Location.
Where the MKR school is on the place I agree.
Where do they go?
On the desire line.
Where are places that you usually go?
That's a good question. You know what would be nice?
We're good.
Dashboards. Where we had everything we need, the MKRs, you can see everything. Relevant to customer work that we do.
Oh, relevant to the specific work that we do?
Yeah.
How do you see that we could create something like that? Or like
With. No,
think parts?
could possibly.
Like inline databases?
That too.
Because we kind of get that with the content hub. Get a lot of relevant stuff on one page. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. So if we had the ability to, so Conrad's saying that his issue is that it's like outside our mind. It's not really where you track the MKRs is not where he works on the stuff. And if the MKRs could be in more places where you actually do the work, it would be less friction for you to track it.
Yeah.
And whether that's,
Also,
oh, go ahead.
also, I think I don't really have a habit of checking them. I think something that could help is it requires somebody else to be there. If you, for example, being in the room, when I'm done doing something or in a transition, to like call out or remind that it's a good time to get down with the hours, start down the video.
That makes sense. What if we read that? What if we reminded each other on like headquarters every now and then throughout the day? If we saw that, be like, hey, don't forget to track what you do. And we might have a tendency of reading within a transition.
What if, you
What?
know how on Sunday we plan the workshop? Anyway,
Heard it
well, we
before.
plan the agendas for the week. And so we know like, okay, on Monday, this chunk of time we're gonna be working on this, from this time to that time, and from that time to that time. So like for that week, we know like, okay, after this chunk of time is done, then they track it, then after that chunk is done, then send another reminder to track it. I know that'd be a lot of reminders, but
Yeah,
those are all in the transition.
that's a good idea, cause what we could do is like on one day, just before lunch, track, and then right at the end of the day, track. Or on, you're
Might be
saying,
simpler. That might be simpler to do. I think
isn't that what you were saying?
more similar. I was saying like after every hour, but I think just once
Oh.
or twice a day would be better.
Oh, yeah, cause then we won't forget, you know, if it's in the morning, and then we do it just before we eat dinner, or lunch.
And that 5-minute bell could be a trigger.
That's what I was thinking.
When to track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. When you hear the 5-minute bell, know to go do your tracking, your MKRs. That's your trigger.
Sometimes that can be easier said than done. If you're
Yeah,
in-
in the
You're
middle
more
of
momentum.
something.
Yeah,
I know
that's true.
sometimes you like, come to lunch, 15 minutes.
You do?
No, you,
Me?
yeah.
I work here.
What?
I work here.
And then you don't turn off.
No, I'm saying I'm here when I'm working.
Sometimes you're in the studio, but anyway.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, what do you perceive is the problems or challenges that we face that prevent us from consistently tracking our work?
I think a couple of you really hit it hard, and that's just out of sight, out of mind, not remembering to do it. And if there's not a call to do it, if there's not a reminder to do it, it's easy to just let it go and then let it go.
and then let it go
and forget.
and forget.
Yes,
I think that's really
or Monday.
the main reason.
Okay, makes sense. And what about like tracking like our quarterly quests or annual payments? How accurate have we been historically in actually having accurate like quarterly quest numbers or annual aid numbers? Seems like we track weekly
Yeah.
fairly well.
Yeah.
Monthly we get pretty close, but it seems like anything beyond a month, things just start scattering. We're not as clearly defined what we do, and we don't always update from our month to the quarter, and so by 1, 2, 3 months go past, and then the quarter MKRs are kind of lacking actual numbers. Did you guys find that too?
Yeah, and I think like the weekly ones, even though the weekly ones are like based on whatever the monthly missions are, they're also pretty like consistent of things that numbers that we want to just keep up with, period. And so they're tracked each week, but then the monthly missions every time like don't update it, they get lost.
You know what we could do, like at the end of the meeting, I remember somebody, I think it was Katharina, she used to send off what we were supposed to do. Well, at the end, instead
She
of,
still does that. She puts it on the ultimate task.
yeah, instead of sending off everything that's supposed to be done, we can make like a list of things that we did, like, we could put it in the debriefing and put what we did in the debriefing for the quarterly meeting. And then if it's something like sell 20 books and we sold 5 this week, but next week we sell 10, so then we could just update that one. But add the things that we did in a quarterly meeting, you know, like maybe it's spot in a quarterly meeting. That way, when we do the quarterly meeting, we'll see all the things that we did and know the numbers to it.
Did
You
you
know what I
know? I understand what you're saying.
Oh.
Did you know that each of the the stepping stone ultimate tasks are tracking like all the things we had to do when it's on the ultimate task? Whenever you check it off,
Mhm.
it automatically marks the day that it was done, like the done date, and there's a view that says completed or done.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, when you click the completed done, it will show you everything that you've done throughout the whole quarter that has your name on it and others'
That's
name on
cool.
it. And it's
I don't
organized.
Keep up on that.
It's organized by dates.
Oh, that's good.
So if you check things off on the ultimate task that you do, it will allow you to like go through an abundance of stuff that you did.
Then we can use that, at the end of, you know, like at lunch and at the end of the day. We use that to help.
I think that's true too. That would help us a lot as far as what is done. That's interesting. And then what do you guys think about like, have you noticed that some MKRs seem to get outdated, but they linger? And then sometimes sometimes you wonder, why am I tracking that?
Yeah.
Other times it's like, how do I track, like, what does that look like to track that? Or sometimes it's knowing like where to go to track the number, or maybe sometimes like finding the location to track it. Sometimes like maybe a dashboard we have to go to is like out of sight, out of mind. Or it's like, oh, I gotta log into ClickFunnels and go to what link to find the analytics. Like that could be challenging, the location, or like where like how to track it, how to find it. That could be a challenge. And then also, what do you guys think about like, yeah, sometimes we have outdated, like our monthly mission changes, so then some MKRs get outdated, and they don't always get taken off, or sometimes they do. Or like, you guys think we have a strong system for like keeping track of like what's active, what's inactive, what's not, what's like currently what we're.
Do we
trying to
have a
focus
strong system is what you asked?
on? Yeah, for keeping track of that.
No.
No.
If we had a strong system, it wouldn't get outdated.
Well, we do now. Introducing the ultimate task tracker. Let me show you what we got here. Yes, I am. So, the same place that we've always like accessed the measurable key results. It's supposed to be here.
That's what's happening today, just for a very long time.
Okay, I see. The same place that we've always like accessed the measurable key results. Now we have a database, and this database is designed to track our MKRs. So let me show you what we have and how I think there's every problem that was said today has now been solved with this. Seriously, every problem, except for I think one that mom said. It was relating to like the reminders. The reminders in the transitions. This doesn't solve that, but it solves all the other stuff. So let me show you how this works. No, you have to zoom in. That's as big as it
No,
gets.
I thought like, the people,
How?
when you put the page
The page isn't forward.
oh,
So here's how this works. It's still the same that we've used it before, and it's all organized by the people. As you can see that there's like a list of things that people are responsible for. And the way that this is organized, as you can see, folks, I'm gonna go to mine. Don't worry, Captain. There's nothing to worry about. This is everything is like described what it is. You obviously have the person, the name of the thing. Like I got quotables review, and if you're not sure what something does, you can always like hover over it. And you know this is our formula, right? So we have the monthly total for like divided by or like the monthly total out of the monthly goal. And then in parentheses, we say how much have we, this last week, how much have we increased this week, right? So if we ever forget what goes where, that's all there. And it's labeled the exact same thing. So the monthly total, 7, when you change this 7, it changes up there. So when I put
that's nice.
like 17, notice how 17 just changed.
No, I didn't see that. I saw the 17, but what
I'm
did
gonna change back to 7.
I
You
see
know,
the 7,
The
Look
M,
at the row next to
the MKR, which is the monthly MKR,
Right.
shows 7 out of 40, right?
yeah, I saw
So
that.
when I put 17, notice
Oh, now I saw it.
it
Okay,
automatically changed.
all
So
right.
our goal is to have my goal is to have 40 conversations this month. That's what that says. But let's say my goal changes to have 60 conversations this month. It changed automatically.
Yeah, got
Make
it.
sense?
Yeah,
So the thing that controls these is changing here. And if I had 3 conversations this week, then I'm gonna go plus 3, and then it changes, and which is a total of 4 on the MKR. So that changes automatically. And the way that this is organized is there's a lot of the same numbers that we track, but this tracks like the weekly, which is a W, the monthly, which is M, the quarterly, which is Q, and the annual, which is A.
That's nice, isn't it?
You got a question?
yeah, I do. I see an M where they're like, the first column is the M, which is the monthly, week.
Yeah,
Okay, so where do you see the quarterly? Q for quarterly.
that's on a different view.
Oh, okay.
We're at weekly, monthly, quarterly.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
So in this weekly view, and when you hover over it, it'll tell you what it's about too. The weekly, the description, this black box, it shows that this is showing you the weekly working towards the monthly.
Right.
And then when we look at the monthly, the black box says it's the monthly working towards the quarterly. So
Quarterly.
you're gonna find both the monthly and quarterly. You won't find anything about a week or a year on this view, but the quarterly has both the quarterly working to the annual. You won't find anything about the weekly there.
Okay,
And some things we want to track daily, not saying that we have to, just sometimes we do. And there's also a daily view that we can track some things daily and then others weekly.
okay.
But it's all automatically updated, which is really cool. Because if I want to track,
Automatically updated,
It's-
which is really cool if you do what?
the monthly goal, when you set the monthly goal, every other goal is automatically calculated
But yeah, they're new.
for the quarterly and annual,
Okay.
weekly and daily.
All right,
It literally takes your number, which is another disconnect that we've had, is sometimes we set an annual goal and we don't remember to track it monthly, or we don't know, like, what does it mean to take this long-term vision into daily activities. Now we know, because when you set monthly, like, I have a goal to set 40 conversations in a month. What does that look like in a quarter? If I go up to the quarterly, you could see that it looks very similar, has all the same numbers, but the quarterly goal, 40 a month is 120 in a quarter in 3 months. It's 480 in a year in 12 months. And those change. Just by changing the month, it changes all of these. And that's a formula. That's a formula symbol, so that changes automatically. So the way
But
that
doesn't that change the annual if you're changing monthly to the weekly?
great,
Isn't it by automation, do that?
great question. The only thing that automatically changes is the goal. But how much that we work towards, that stays the same. So it doesn't lose track of anything we've completed.
So we just can't see it, but it is tracking this.
We can see it if we're in the right view.
Right.
Yes, but it is tracking, and each one's connected to the last. So I'll show you. So going back to the weekly, then when I'm on the weekly, which is what we see every Monday, let's say this month I got 17, right? But let's say that I reached 35. I did 35 this month. Then you see 35 out of 40, and then I'm gonna do a plus 35 or actually it was plus 7 this week. So total by the end of the month, I got 35 and 40. So what it looks like, what you're asking about tracking, when I go up to the monthly view, now we're in a monthly meeting. And we're looking at the monthly meeting, and the question is, did I reach my monthly goal? And my monthly goal was 40, and I got 35. Not quite. But what do I do with this 35?
Wait, does that show in the annual too? Because it's fixed on here, it'll automatically show on the annual. too?
What is it? Depends on what you define as it.
35.
The 35 does not. See this symbol right here? That number means you have to manually enter it. You plug that in, which is good for us, because in the month, every month in the monthly meeting, we want to bring it down to 0 so we can restart our numbers without losing track of the 35 that I just did.
But you entered it manually for
The weekly briefing.
week.
Every
But-
weekly
but it-
briefing I update it.
Automatically did it on here though, right?
Yeah,
But you didn't manually.
it's the same. Well, yeah. It's actually the same property. I changed this property on the weekly view.
And then that property is on the annual view too?
No, it's not. No.
What's on there?
The quarter. Because remember, like this, like we're looking at a quarter. This is our quarterly goal. So it's how much we've made towards a quarter, which is 0. But then what we do is, like, this is once a month we do this. We just do it once a month. Take how many we have here, move it over to the quarter, and boom, we got 35.
Oh, okay.
And then we can take this and delete it. And when we delete that, then it's able to start a new quarter fresh.
Oh, I see, okay.
And then next
Monthly.
month,
And then that'll be on.
the annual. Yes,
Oh,
that
okay.
35 for this quarter
Mhm.
will be on the annual when we go to the quarter to annual.
Oh, okay.
And so now we're in a quarterly meeting, like what we did last week. And as you can see, the quarter total, we have 35.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cool?
That's real cool.
And so then when in a quarterly meeting, we take that total and and we put it over to this annual, and then we delete this.
Okay.
And then we got a new fresh
Fine.
start with the quarter, but we didn't lose any.
That's
And we know whether, like, are we on track or are we not?
yeah. That's
And we
good.
can check our status, and at any time we can say, hey, we're behind.
That is totally new and improved.
So we can archive things that are not relevant, and when we archive it, guess what happens?
What happens?
Saves it.
It disappears. See, it's
But
gone.
not deleted.
It's not deleted. It's archived. It doesn't take up space or visual clutter from our view. So now I archive it. I'm going to put that back because I don't want that archived. But let's say I'm not on track. I'm actually behind. This is active, but I'm behind. Now I could take a note of what could I do. It's red, so I can see what could I do to get on track. Maybe I gotta realign my goal. Maybe I got to revisit when I do it, or how often I do it, or other priorities or other focus. I might have to make some changes there. But I can keep track of it, and I can keep track of when it's complete. Let's say I get to 480, and then I hit achieved, and guess what happens?
Does it archive?
It will disappear. I just didn't set it up. But it will disappear in another step. So yeah, that's how that works. Are there any questions with that so far?
No.
You like
That's nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice.
Okay, so that's part of how this works. That's what you guys are familiar with. The things that we manually change is whatever is this little symbol of the pound sign, the number sign. And then this is a formula, that's a formula, that's a formula. The goal automatically updates. The only way to change a goal is to do it monthly, which we'll show you how to do that. But let me go back to weekly. Oh, so now my monthly goal is to have 40 conversations, right? And this isn't really the case for everybody, but some, or I'd say it's not the case for every MKR. We don't have to track it daily, but some of them will want to. So there's a daily view that actually will automatically take our monthly goal and it'll show us realistically what that looks like every day. Because sometimes we get over ambitious, right, Kathy? We get these grand ideas and we want to do some big things. And when we actually count it up, you're like, wait a second.
Well, hold on.
Not when I'm trying to.
Do you realize that in order for me to reach 40 a month, I have to have 10 a week and I have to do 2 a day? And so if I can't do 2 a day, then that's going to be an issue. But if I can talk to 2 people a day, then I'll reach 40 by the end of the month.
Where it says a day, is that 7 days?
7 days. It's divided by. It takes your monthly goal, divides it by 4 weeks. That's how it comes up with this.
Oh,
So, but what I want to show you is that this is automatically calculated. Any goal that you set is automatically calculated today if you want to view it as such. You don't have to though. But mostly what we do, I suspect we're probably going to look at this weekly more than anything. But let's say you don't really want to go through and like minimize each of these people. Well, I created a me view to make it simple for you. And this only contains me. And you're asking, who is me?
I like that.
Whoever account that you're on. So you don't see anybody else's, you just see yours. And
I
this
like
is
to do that.
your personal dashboard that you, like Conrad said, you can take this inline database, or really you can take the sync block. This is in a sync block. You can take the sync block and put it anywhere that you want. You, like Kathy, you were talking to Sherry about a personal dashboard. You guys can take this, put it on your personal dashboard. You have quick access just by copying the sync block. We can put it. We're going to put it on the content hub where we do the reels and where you write micro blogs. Going to put it in there, and it's going to be where we do quote cards. We can like put on wherever we work. That's what this is going to be, and we have unlimited places that we can put this because it's never going to be like too many places. It'll be in a toggle, so it doesn't take up a bunch of space. It's only accessible when you want it to. That makes sense? Is this any questions so far?
Don't like that.
I said, I like that.
You said it was success. So it sounds like the opposite. Oh, and another thing that this does, which is cool, is, as you can notice, the project, we have these projects, right?
What's
So-
QQ?
Quarterly quests.
Okay,
So the quarterly quest here is to develop realistic personal content review, right? So I have this quotable review, and I want to review 45 in a month. So when I add this, notice what happens. This is the coolest thing. If you go to this project, if you're viewing it, and you're looking at the tasks that have the stepping stones that have to do with this task, notice how the MKRs are. All the MKRs related to this project are automatically updated and dynamically revealed. So these are every MKR. Yeah, so every content related MKR, who's responsible for it, and when you hover over the number, this is their monthly MKR. So we know that that's like 1 out of 10. We want to do 10 in a month. She's done 1 last week, and she's 1 out of 10 right now. Are there any questions about that? Kathy, do you have a question?
I don't know if I have a question yet or
Do you
not.
understand?
No, I
What- what-
guess.
What part makes sense or doesn't make sense?
Okay,
Are you wondering where these came from?
yeah,
Remember, this is the one I just showed you. Unique Leftmost quotable review
okay,
that had 45 I want to do this
yeah,
one. And the moment that
you
on-
did what?
on here, the moment I added this,
The
like-
project,
yeah, I add, as soon as you link the projects, boom, then, see, that's 20, reels I review. And then it shows up under more, reels I review. 0 out of 20,
okay,
shows up right there. So,
alright,
so we,
Know how to add a project.
yeah, we see those. Does that part make sense to you?
I'm just, yeah, it's a little confusing, but,
But
okay, I know it's projects, when you click on projects, then it just breaks it down. So that's, you see another view, the project view of it,
well,
and then it tells you who all it's linked to.
yeah, like
So this is your MKR, but all these people are involved in your MKR.
no, not at all.
No,
This is my
That's
MKR,
where it makes it private.
and then this is your quarterly quest. See, you are the DRI,
yeah,
so this is your quarterly quest, and this is what your quarterly quest is. And these are the stepping stones for your quarterly quest. These are the things that
Oh, that's
these,
cool.
these are the tasks that are related,
Oh, that's cool.
and they're not just things that you're doing. They're not things that you're doing. Look, it's like this is something I'm doing. This is something Katharina or Shanice is doing. Your mom's involved in. So this is this is how the ultimate tasks work. Is just it keeps track of all of our little tasks based on what project or quarterly quest that it's related to. So all of our tasks are related to a project, and this contains each of the tasks that are content related for us creating content.
okay,
Does that make sense? All I'm saying is that we use this in many places and we add stuff to it.
right,
Work on it. This is how we prioritize our list of things to do.
okay,
And just the place that we use it, the MKR, whatever MKRs are relevant, these aren't all the things relevant to me. It's just the ones that have my name on it are relevant to me.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you know how we have different things that we work on that all contribute to the accomplishing the quarterly quest? We all have different parts that we play.
mhm,
Yeah, the different parts that we play is down here. These are the different parts that we play to work towards the same quarterly quest. Does that make sense?
does a person have to read all those things? Or just the ones that their name is connected to?
No, people don't. I don't read up everything that people put. I have no interest in reading everything that people say.
Good.
I'm mostly just focused on the things that are relating to me or the things that I'm waiting on someone to do. So it's just, and I'm not even reading everything that's on my list. I'm reading on things that are specific to the project we're working on in that workathon. So yeah, we don't read all the stuff like every day or any day. we just work when we use it when it's necessary. And a lot of these things too, a lot of these things have filters that, like Carmen was describing, when we're working on, say, like a whiteboard webinar, like one of the weekly webinars. There's tasks on there. There's tasks related to a weekly webinar that shows up on the ultimate tasks. So we don't even view it from here. We view it from the page that's dedicated to the weekly webinar, and we just look at all the tasks related to finishing that weekly video. And that's where we edit and view the stuff. And that's like 5 to 10 things.
Okay,
It's not a whole list of things.
all right,
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the reason why this is cool, this project, is because what it does is it helps us to keep in our mind and associate what is this MKR contributing to?
Mm,
What is the goal that this MKR is contributing to?
okay,
And that's what it does. Sometimes we get disconnected, and when we disconnect what we do daily, then we think that we don't get anything done. Like what Mom was saying, we feel like we don't get anything done towards the monthly mission because we don't see how the things we're doing daily is actually associated with what they are. And the project helps us to see what is directly related to. Great questions. So, oh, man,
yeah, all right.
do you guys want to in here, or could I have like 8 more minutes?
Countdown's on.
Does anyone want to close? Okay,
Speak now, forever hold your.
so I'll seek to wrap this up. I want to show that there's something else too that it does, because I showed you this portion. I would say the vast majority of what we're doing is going to be on this weekly view.
Mhm.
This is where we're going to see most of the stuff that we do. But there are also, when you go to the right, you'll see that I want to explain to you these right here. And keep in mind too, just because they're empty doesn't mean it needs to be filled out. I think these are good to fill out on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes, like Mom described, she has a hard time knowing when to track it. So let's write down, when will you track this MKR? Because like Kathy knows, what gets scheduled gets done. And if we don't have a time to track it, like Palmer and I had tracking the ads, before we had it scheduled, we didn't track it. Once we schedule it, and when we honor that time, then we know that everything's done. So the first thing, if we find that we're behind or we're not on track, the first place we go is this place. We're like, well, first of all, is it scheduled? And if there's no schedule, then of course it's going to be behind because it won't get done if it's not scheduled. So we have a win. That's our trigger of when to remember to do that. And it might be different for different things. Sometimes it could be weekly, sometimes it's daily, sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's every other week. It just depends. Also, like the how, this is cool because this is asking how will you track this MKR. So it's like provide a link for an example. If we're tracking how many quote cards that we're going to do, let's put the link on to the quote cards. Or like Mom is tracking like a specific funnel. She needs to go to like the funnel analytics dashboard. She could literally take that link to the dashboard and just stick it in the tab. So all from here, she just click that link one time, it'll take her exactly.
Like a bookmark.
It's like a bookmark.
That's not.
Exactly, it'll take you straight
You
there.
don't even have to scroll through a bunch of bookmarks to find it.
Exactly, you don't have to. It's right where you're going to use it. So,
Right the way a bookmark should really work.
yes. So that makes it helpful with things that are out of sight, out of mind. Also, like sales. Karma's going to be tracking the sales of the book. We could put a link to Amazon book sales right here. So you don't have to log in and click and like switch and all that. You just click the link. It'll go straight to how many sales was made in this X amount of time, and then it's the same link every time. So
Like that,
save
Colin?
time like that.
You like that?
And again, I'm going to share that. Yeah, just because it's there doesn't mean it has to be filled out. That's only there. Like some things mom had a hard time tracking because she didn't know where to find it.
Yeah, that's gonna help a lot.
And exactly, and
This will
so,
make it a whole lot, funner too,
okay,
because it like wears me out looking.
yeah. So if finding it, how to find it is hard, then we want to use that. If it's not hard to find where to go, then don't use it, and that's totally fine. Other times, like we're tracking something and we don't know like what does this MKR mean? Like, okay, it's 5 out of 10. What does that mean? Like, why does it matter? Who cares? Or what does that mean to us? That we might be able to put some notes of how to improve it, or what that like. If there's a bunch that needs to be reviewed, then that means that Shanicia can't schedule them if I didn't review them, and so it will affect uh, our content bank. We won't be able to grow our content bank because it falls in my court. Or it could be something like that. So why? And then another thing, sometimes it's not so much an issue of when to do it or like where it's at. Sometimes we're just like, why am I tracking this? Why does this matter? Is this? And again, I think these 4 questions are more like how to diagnose the problem if we're behind or we're not on track.
We can put who we're waiting on too in there.
And it's like, sometimes if we're not clear on like, what's the purpose of this? What's the point? This can give us reasons, like why is it important to you to track this MKR? And then also, why is it important to others that you track this MKR? You don't have to answer both. You can answer either or. You can answer whichever one influences you the most. And again, only fill it out if it's something that you particularly have a hard time tracking, but you want to track, but you lack motivation to track. Sometimes it's a motivation issue, and we could potentially have our why before our I. And if our why is not clear, we won't persevere. But a lot of times, if your why is strong enough, you will figure out how to be consistent. But if you're waiting on why am I tracking this, well then, yeah, we're going to be inconsistent and be behind and fall short of reaching our goals. Does that make sense?
Nice.
So that's why that's there. I think that's pretty much it. I will say that this last updated, the more distant the date, the more questions that we can ask to determine what's hindering this MKR from being tracked consistently and staying on track to meet or exceed our goals. This is automatically updated when you change your weekly total or your monthly total. Whenever you manually change it, it gets updated. So the later this is, we know that it hasn't been updated, it hasn't been tracked, it hasn't been used. So we have to ask, well, is it relevant? If it's not relevant anymore, let's archive it so it's not taking up space. Is it a why problem? Is it a how problem? Is it a when problem? I would probably go to when first, or why, and then how. I mean, it's going to be one of those issues. And the goal would be to do this regularly. And this is here to help us to see, well, how frequent do we actually do that? It'll tell us if we do or don't. And then the done date, this automatically populates too as soon as we archive it. As soon as we turn the status to achieved, then the done date is going to automatically show up. And if we take it off of achieved, the done date will disappear. So I set up 2 automations here. And that's pretty much it. Again, most of what we're doing is going to be right here.
Just a second.
Uh-huh.
When you take it from behind to
Mhm.
active, then you take it to
Achieved.
achieved, it disappears? Is that what you said?
What I said, it's going to disappear for most of these, yes. Because we will have a view that's just like on the ultimate task. When you mark something off,
Yeah.
it disappears.
Yeah, it's true.
But it's not gone, it's under a completed view. And a
Okay.
completed view is everything that's completed.
Okay, so you do know you got it done, you just don't see it anymore.
Yeah, it's not cluttering up your space there.
Okay,
But yeah,
got
you
it.
do know it's done.
Okay,
And,
all right.
and then you notice how I marked that as achieved? Look, the done date.
Yeah,
It says the done is right now. Because that's when I did it.
mhm.
Isn't that cool? And then notice, and it's automation, where usually you have to manually put that, but I'm trying to make it to where you do the least amount of work to make it easier on you guys. And I changed it to doing, and then the done date. So that's little things, but yeah, that's how this works. Are there any last questions? You guys glad?
Mhm.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think that this has a potential of solving the problems we described today? 10. That's good.
With the
With a reminder,
with the reminders.
sounds good.
I think it's a 10 also.
Wow, that's cool. Oh, and this was my quarterly quest. My individual quarterly quest was to solve the problems that we're all facing here. And Shanice helped me realize that I got the quarterly quest done in a day. So, what number would you give it, Conrad?
Thank you.
What number would you give it, Kathy?
Well, if I understand what I think I understand, then it would be a 10.
Oh, cool. Right on. And I think you understand it, right?
I think,
It's only going to get better.
yeah. I'll give-
Especially when you click around on it on your screen.
Yeah, when you click around on it on your screen. And Kathy, I created these especially for you too. When you're able to use it in your weekly debriefings with people, like the MKRs, you
Mhm.
can literally talk over this MKR in your not weekly debriefing, the performance reviews.
Yeah,
And
performance.
if people are not on track or they're not like on point with it, you can figure out do they have it scheduled? If not, let's put it down here. And do they know why they're doing it? Do they know where to find it? You can figure out kind of like you can figure those things out and diagnose the problem. And that's kind of like what we talked about tonight. That conversation, I believe, is the make or break of the productivity for people. It's these questions.
So maybe it'll be good to just like briefly show her the by person. So that when she's going through it with us, then she can see. Because
Um,
most of the time she's probably gonna be in the preview or maybe. But by person, she can see what other people have, like their. What they don't have.
well, this is actually the view. She doesn't have to go to the by
Oh,
person.
that one has all of them?
Yeah, it has everyone. You only saw me because that's what I'm talking about, but it has everyone.
Oh, okay.
As you could just, if you're having a one-on-one with Kamran, you can go here, and then discuss his where he's at, and you can pick and choose which ones you think are highest priority. But we're gonna clean it up, and it's gonna be better and better each time. So what Shanice and I did is we literally just combed through all of our quarterly, monthly, weekly MKRs, and we replaced them with this. The database is already in our templates, and so we're able to access it real quick, and it's going to be there. And then you can take this sync block, put it anywhere you want, anywhere on Notion, on any page, wherever you work the most, where your dashboard, you're most convenient for you, put it on as many as you want, wherever you want, and that will be easy, like what Carmen was saying, to use them where we work.
Easy.
So that's a goal. Thanks everyone for sharing your problems and for listening to possible solutions.
Thank you for listening to a problem.
I know, the hard work you did.
Yeah, I'm always looking for ways to make your lives easier and to make it more simple, less friction, more enjoyable, easier to help you guys reach your goals.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head.
Yes.